Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. This is the Entrepreneur Architect Podcast, episode 63. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Architect Podcast. My name is Mark R. LePage, and this is the podcast dedicated to a successful life as a small firm architect. Whether you have plans to someday start your own firm, you're in the process of launching a startup, or you might be an experienced small firm architect just trying to make a difference, this podcast is for you. My goal is to inspire you to build a better business so that you may pursue your purpose with passion and live the life of your dreams. Have you ever put all your heart and soul into an architecture project? developed it from inception at Schematic Design, developed all the details during design development, assembled the construction documents, bid it out, and then handed it off to some unknown contractor to build. How often do we do this? How often do our ideas get revised and simplified and value engineered just to make it easier for the contractor to build? Have you ever thought, I can do this better? I wish I could control the project all the way through construction. I wish I could make certain that all my ideas are fully executed and every detail is exactly the way I want it. Have you ever considered how beneficial it would be to you as the architect to control the quality of your projects, manage the expectations of your client, and ensure that they are raving fans when the project is complete? And then they go tell their friends how you, the architect, built their home instead of the contractor basking in all that glory? Well, today's guest on the Entrepreneur Architect podcast did something about that. This past year, with a new modern home on his boards, he pitched the idea of constructing that project to his client, and the client agreed, and Dig Architecture was born. Today on the Entrepreneur Architect podcast, I'm speaking with my friend Nicholas Renard about his architecture firm, Cody Renard Architecture, talking about how he's marketing his Florida-based firm and how and why he launched Dig Architecture, his new construction management company. So stick with me. We're going to have a great conversation. This episode of the Entrepreneur Architect podcast is brought to you by Entrepreneur Architect Academy. It's a community of like-minded architects seeking to take their small firms to greater success. You need to be in this academy. Membership at Entrepreneur Architect Academy includes the live weekly video conference where the members and I meet each week to discuss a specific topic on business, leadership, or life, and we work together to help each other be better architects. We've discussed everything from contracts to sales and marketing to negotiation and how to be more productive as small firm architects. We record every session and members have access to dozens of videos in the private video library. And membership includes a private member community where during the week, members post and communicate and share information in a protected forum. And there is so much more. So if you're interested in learning more about Entrepreneur Architect Academy, please visit entrearchitect.com/academy. Nicholas Renard, welcome to the Entrepreneur Architect podcast.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You and I have known each other for quite a while now, probably a couple of years.
It seems like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think we connected originally on Twitter, and now we communicate probably on a daily basis through social media. I follow what you do, and you follow what I do, and you're certainly part of that core group of architects on Twitter.
Thank you.
That I would say that every architect should be on Twitter and should be part of that group. We should actually name that group and start. We should start a hashtag or something that we can all connect through. But we can talk about that some other day. You're an architect based in Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you just launched a new company that we'll get into a little bit, I think, that's separate from your architecture firm, which is very interesting, which is why I wanted to have you here today. But before we get into that, I want to do what we always do here at the podcast, is to get a little bit of background on you and what you do and where you've come from. So let's talk about your origin story a little bit. Go back as far as you feel like going back and tell us your story to get to where you are today.
Sure. I grew up in Ohio. Didn't really know much about architects or anything growing up. I knew I liked to build stuff, Lego. I like to draw. So one day I was kind of in high school looking for a direction, went to my guidance counselor. All right, it's almost time to go to college. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And he said, well, I see you're good at math, you're good at science, and you kind of like to draw. You should become an architect. They make lots of money. Well, that's true. I am good at math. I do like to draw. I would like to make lots of money. So I progressed that way. Looked at going to Ohio State and Cincinnati. Ended up at Cincinnati, and then the first day of class, our professor came in and said, "Your guidance counselors lied to you. Architects don't make lots of money." And said, all right, I'm going to stick around. But there was actually 2 people that got up and left the class, and we never saw them again. So I went through Cincinnati. I started at Cincinnati as a pre-architect student. I missed getting accepted into their architecture program by 1 point on my ACT. So always had to fight for everything at school. It was an uphill battle. There was 30 some, I think, pre-architecture students. Half of us got accepted into the architecture program, and we had to do 3 quarters of studio over the summer following our freshman year. And then we did. I think that program did put a good drive into the people that were in it, because most of the people that went through the pre-architecture program in my class actually graduated. And I know 3 of us actually own businesses now, which I don't know how many of my other classmates that were regular architecture students can say that. Before my senior year of school, I got diagnosed, or I got sick. I got really sick, and then I ended up getting diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. Probably 2 months into my senior thesis, and really changed my life. I had some professors kind of encourage me maybe to take the year off. I was really sick, probably should have been in the hospital. Always just fought through it. It was another point in my life where I think it strengthened my will to do things and to succeed, because I wasn't going to let the disease beat me. I wasn't going to let the disease put me off the course I was on, and I've kind of maintained that through my life. And you follow me, you can see I'm an advocate for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So I live with it out there, and don't let that dictate my life. And then from there, I went to Columbus, Ohio to work for a few years. We were relocated to Jacksonville in 2007, worked for another firm here for a year, and then found my partner today, and we opened up Cody Renard Architecture in 2008. We've been doing that ever since.
Great. And so tell us a little bit about Cody Renard and what you do there.
Sure. My partner has been a residential designer architect here in Jacksonville for 20 plus years, 25 plus years now. And he was kind of looking, he was not licensed in Florida. He held a license in DC. And because of his schooling, he wasn't allowed to reciprocate. Florida didn't recognize his school as an accredited program, couldn't reciprocate here. So he wanted to bring someone on with a commercial background with a license to kind of chase after commercial work, which at that time I was fine, because that's all I wanted to do was commercial work. And we never really kind of thought the financial crisis would be what it was going to be. I think we saw it coming a little bit, but never imagined that it was going to be as bad as it was, which most people didn't.
Yeah.
And so we started our company with a couple commercial projects, a restaurant and a multi-project. The multifamily project, we designed the whole thing and got paid for it, which is good, but it's never going to get built. The restaurant did get built, and but beyond that, most of our work was residential, and I had to kind of find my way back to residential. And I actually think that I enjoy now doing residential more than commercial. But for the whole downturn, we were, we stayed alive doing a lot of remodels and a house here and there every year.
And your staff is it's just you and your partner, right?
Currently, there's the 2 of us. We have 3 dogs in the office, and then we just brought in a intern that's going to be with us till May. She's from Texas A&M, so she's going to kind of help us with some of our drafting work and probably help me a lot with some of the things I'm doing as I'm transitioning with this new company.
And you're primarily residential now. I mean, you have a commercial background. Your intent was to come in as a commercial architect and bring that work to the new firm. But from my understanding, from following you and it sounds like you're pretty much residential now, correct?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, we're 75% residential, and probably 60% to 50% of that 75 is new construction. We for our commercial side, we do restaurants occasionally. We've done some clubhouse work, but it's not like we're doing, we don't do schools, or we don't do a lot of government work or anything like that, or military, which is bigger down here.
Right, and I see your marketing. Your marketing is pretty much focused at a target market of residential. That's mostly new custom homes, right?
That's what we target.
Yeah. And it's I would describe the style sort of as modern, but certainly respectful to the traditional architecture of its context. Correct?
It depends who you're talking to in our office. If it's me, it's much more contemporary work. If it's my partner, he's much more traditional, and that kind of helps us reach a larger audience in the custom realm. Jacksonville isn't there isn't a large desire yet here for contemporary work. It's growing, and there is a lot more of it than there even was 5 years ago. But with both of us, being able to do different things, it really helps our firm, and it really helped our firm make it through the downturn, just because we could offer our services to more people, I think.
And how do you break up the work? Do you each have your own projects and just work with them independently, or do you collaborate?
We don't do much collaboration with when one of us gets kind of stuck on something or wants just to kind of a second opinion, we'll present to each other. But for the most part, there isn't much collaboration between us. We've collaborated probably on 2 houses in the 7 years we've been open. More so on the commercial side, but really residential. It's just whichever one of us you sign up with is who you have pretty much solely throughout the whole project.
Right. So it's somebody calls the firm and is looking for one of you through a contact, right? And that's pretty much how you decide. On referral based, people will call looking for one of the two of us. We do get some cold calls, and when that happens, we both sit in on the interview and kind of determine who's a better fit office for the project. Right.
And that it usually becomes pretty evident. We're usually not fighting over a house.
Right. What are you doing for marketing? Because I see that your marketing is pretty professional looking. How are you marketing the firm?
Yeah, about a year ago, for the first five or so years, I was doing it all. I was doing the Facebook, I was doing the Twitter, Instagram, and I just couldn't keep up anymore. We were too busy. I didn't have time to do it. And one of our builders got us in touch with actually 2 of our builders were using a marketing agency here, and they said, you should really go talk to them. And we did, and we kind of hit it off, and they catered their package to what we wanted to do, and we may grow with them this year. We may do some more things with them, but they kind of were happy to target Facebook, Google Plus, and House for us, and so they completely took that over. And it was nice because the one thing that I always looked at was everything I did was in an architect's eye, and for some reason in my head it made sense to do it to impress other architects. And the first thing they said is, that's not your target audience. Your target audience is housewives. And I'm never going to create a graphic or something that my brain just doesn't work like that. So they kind of, the group is a group of ladies, and they took it over, and half the posts the first few weeks I hated. But I'm listening to you guys. You're the professionals here. This is what you do. Our future in marketing is in your hands. So I'm gonna go along for the ride. And I've come to the understanding that this is they're on the right approach, and I was not.
So what do they do for you? Is it mainly social media, or is there anything else they're working on for you?
It is all social media. We've had some talks about some other avenues. Trying to get published, trying to work on some of our blogging because I just don't have the time to do a lot of blogs with everything else I'm doing. And so we may, that's how we may grow with them this year, but it's mainly through social media that they've done our work.
And you said it was Facebook, Twitter, and House, and
House. Yeah, they've really kind of done a lot for us on House and opened us up on the inner workings of that platform.
And have you actually gotten work through their marketing that you know is direct through that work?
I think 2 projects.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so that's not bad. And I mean, I don't know. One was more of a referral from a friend, so I don't know how much that was through the marketing side, but we have gotten some more exposure from our house, which we never got prior to them coming on board.
Yeah, and without getting into details on how much you're spending on it, but what's the kind of structure that you have worked out for them? Is it just a flat rate that you're paying them?
Yeah, it's a flat monthly rate, and it can, it's kind of an a la carte menu. We're kind of at the minimum right now that they're willing to go with us, but we can always expand and take stuff out to go back to the minimum to kind of find what works best for us.
And you found them through a referral from a contractor, you said, right?
Yep.
That's interesting.
And their name, I'll give them a quick plug, is Maria Crisovergas Public Relations.
Okay, we'll link them up in the show notes so they get.
Yeah, I'll send you their website.
Yeah, that'll be good. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I think I lost you. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. The audio just changed. So let's get into the new company. Tell us what the name of the new company is and what it does. What's your services there?
All right. So the new company is called Dig Architecture. It is completely owned by me. And right now, the direction of the company is to offer construction management services to clients of mine that do contemporary work. And really, it's only one project at a time right now because that's all I think I can really manage and keep the other side of the business, or actually Cody Renard, going strong. And I mean, my first goal is to make sure Cody Renard stays strong, but then to kind of grow this other company and to see what happens with it. And it's been in the back of my mind for years. And actually, it was I started thinking about this more heavily last year, and I was starting to think about it, write some thoughts down, and then out of the blue, a client of mine just said, "Would you like to build our house?" And I sat back and thought about it, and this is a direction I may like to go someday. I'm not really ready, but you're exactly the client I'd want to work for. It's exactly the size house. It's a design I really like. It was an opportunity that I just didn't want to pass up. So we kind of scrambled, accelerated everything much faster than I thought it would go, and got the company set up. It actually took us forever to come up with a name, even though it sounds simple. And it was actually a friend of ours, America, who finally convinced me on this name. And she, we were going back and forth, and she kind of was, I was bouncing some things off her, as we do, because we kind of have a similar size firm, similar age, and dealing with some of the same stuff. And she, had it down to like 3 names, and she said, "You got to go with Dig. It conveys the message that you're not afraid to roll your sleeves up and get your hand dirty." And she said, "Plus, who doesn't dig architecture?"
That's right.
And I said, "Boom!" I sent it back. I said, "You just sold me. That's what it is." And the next day, I launched the company as that name.
Yeah, I love the name. I think it's a great name.
And in the name, I also didn't. I think with Cody Renard, we took the stance that we want our names on the door.
Right.
And I don't think that's a good idea for companies. I think you need to go with a name like 5 Cat Studio, like Dig. I think it's easier to brand, and it's easier to, there's more longevity to the company, I think, that way. If
Yeah, and
that's
I think it can.
future you
Yeah, exactly. It can outlive its owners.
very much so, because I mean, my partner is probably 20 or so years my senior, and from the get go, I've always told him once the day you retire is the day Cody Renard stops existing, because there's no way I'd buy him out of the company. It
Right.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So with Dig, it's a construction management firm, right? That's essentially what it is.
That's all it is right now.
And
Yes.
its only employee right now is you.
Employee. Um, it is construction management, and I purposely named it architecture, so it actually could be an architecture company. It's qualified by the state as architecture, but as I've noticed around town, more and more builders are putting design build in their company tagline, and anybody can call themselves design build as long as they have the build side
Right.
license, because you don't need to be licensed to use the word design. And I thought about it, and realistically, to me, architecture is always the full encompassing project. It's from the day we do our research on the client to the day we hand them the keys. That's architecture. And builders, unless they have an architect on staff, can't use the word architecture in their name.
Right. It gives you
So
an advantage.
I use the name. I use architecture to kind of single myself out a little bit in this realm.
Yeah, so it's a strategic move to use the word architecture, because other construction companies, other construction managers, unless they're architects, can't use that word.
And there isn't any in our market.
Yeah, so that's a great idea. How are you providing those construction management services? There's different ways of doing that, right? It's in terms of liability and contract structure. How are you doing that?
Yeah, right now for our first project, everybody's contracted to me, so we're kind of the one. I keep saying we. I'm the one point. I'm the one point point of contact. Everything will go through Dig. We've contracted. We're actually working on finalizing all the contracts right now for our first build project. Contracted builder that I've worked with a lot over the past 5 years and that I do trust. And I think that's kind of why I brought him on board, is just I had a relationship with him that I don't have with many other builders. And then so everything will go through us or me.
Yeah. So the client hired you.
Yes.
So let's start from the beginning. The client hired Cody Renard Architecture, right, to design the house.
Yeah, they hired us last summer to start designing the house.
And then they asked you to build a house, and you developed this company in response to their request, but finally developing something that you've been thinking about for a long time. So this was sort of the catalyst to make it happen.
Yeah, this was the stepping off point.
And then you signed a second contract with them through Dig to build the house.
Yes.
And the contractors are now working directly for you. So they've hired Dig Architecture, and then you're subcontracting essentially the rest of the project through Dig to build. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so there's two different ways of managing construction as an architect. At 5Cat Studio, we offer that as well. We used to do it a lot. Recently, we've actually cut back on that just because of the manpower involved in doing that. But you can do it as a constructor. AIA contracts have two different construction management contracts. One is to work as a constructor, which is what you're doing. Somebody's hiring you to construct the building, and then you're subcontracting that work to builders and contractors. The other alternative to that, which is what we do, is to work as an advisor. And so the contracts would go directly through us to the owner. So the owner essentially hires those subcontractors directly, but we're managing all the paperwork, we're managing all the relationships. So all the actual payments are direct from the subcontractors to the owner. And there's some liability issues in there as well. Being a full constructor has a different liability than a advisor.
which may be why some architects go one way or the other. There's certainly a lot more control and a lot more leverage and quality control in the way you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a control freak as it is, and very particular about how a lot of things are done, and the issues of liability, especially in our how things are evolving in the world of architecture. Those issues are becoming less of a concern to me. I mean, if something goes wrong, everyone's getting sued, and that's why you have your insurance in place, is to protect yourself and to protect your client.
Right. So as an architect, we're liable for everything we're doing already. So if during construction there's an issue and the contractor is being sued, then there's a good chance that the architect will be sued as well, and your insurance, your professional liability insurance, should be in place to be able to protect you from that. So to take the leap to construction and add some additional liability on top of what you're already liable for, in your feeling, is not a huge leap to take on that additional liability.
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, and you end up,
and especially in residential architecture. I don't know what the climate is up where you guys are, but my partner's been, like I said, in this for a long time and never been sued. I've done probably 20 plus houses since we opened the company, and I mean, no one's ever been sued on any projects. There's in our area, there's this drive. The gossip is so strong that there's a drive to succeed, especially in the beach community. That if you just know that if you do one client wrong in the furthest southern point of where we work, everybody in the furthest northern point is going to know about it the next day. And since most of our work is word of mouth, we can't afford to have people talking badly about us. So, and everybody understands that on the build side. So you got to do it right.
Right. So there's not a whole there's not a tremendous leap in liability. There's not a tremendous leap in risk to take on this new venture.
I mean, obviously there's a tremendous leap in liability, but I don't think the risk is that great of a leap.
Yeah.
I think the reward is much greater.
And there are several rewards. What would you consider? Why did you do this? Why would you take on that additional liability and additional responsibility?
The first was you may not like this order based on your theories, but I mean my first my first reasoning was a growing frustration. There aren't a lot of builders here that I feel are qualified to do good contemporary work. They don't have the teams that fully understand what goes into a contemporary house. For years and years, it's coastal. It's Florida's rendition of Mediterranean architecture, and that's what people know, and that's what they're good at. When you all of a sudden throw a curveball, not a lot of people get it. And so the main leap was quality control. If we're going to be doing new materials as our exterior sheathing that people aren't used to, I want to make sure that I'm there to make sure they're doing right and how it should be installed, and not the framers aren't taking liberties because it's easier to do it this way, because they don't look at the very few people, and I've even noticed more builders, they're not looking at the big picture all the time, which is a shame, because if you make this little change here, it has the butterfly effect sometimes. And I had that happen on multiple projects where I wasn't contracted or commissioned to be as involved in construction. CA is always the first thing that gets on the chopping block with a lot of clients. They don't understand why it's important, and you have the builders chirping in there. You don't need the architect here. He doesn't need to be here. So really, that's kind of what started it. And then as I was involved with bid processes, you start to see what the fees are that the builders are making, and
Right.
and there is that desire to get a little piece of that. Um, so I can't say it's all strictly design driven. I can't say it's strictly business driven. It's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, as it should be, in my opinion. I think that there, in order to be an architect and make the money we need to make to pay our bills and to live the lifestyles we want to live and to feed our families, we need to figure out alternative ways of providing services. And I think an architect who's already doing construction administration, it's not a huge leap to take the additional time and responsibility to do construction management and get paid quite a bit for it. I mean, when we do it, we double our fee. It's essentially, actually, it's more. It's the construction management end of things is a higher fee than our architecture fee. So we more than double our fee when we take on a project to do construction management. So it's definitely worth it financially. And the fact that you have a project that you end up with that is built the way you want it built and detailed the way you want it detailed helps you market that project to your next client.
Yeah, and there was a third thing that I didn't really mention, but I like to build stuff, and I like to understand how things go together. And every opportunity I can, to when we're doing new products on site, I'm out there. I was just out on a site for a house that I didn't design even yesterday, because they had a builder that was doing a house with me. They had a material that I'm interested in and we're using on another project, but they had the rep there from Miami, and he was kind of going out over all the ins and the outs project or the product and how to install it. And I was there yesterday learning everything I could about that, and that interests me a lot. So I think I think that helps make you a better architect too, is understanding the construction better, more intimately, and then starting to really keep in tune with budgets and numbers. Though that world changes so much from project to project, as you know, that unless you're up on estimating, it's hard to keep track of what plywood costs today.
Yeah.
What wood costs today. It's so that was another driving factor, is to I'm more involved with that, even at one project at a time. I can make all my other projects better,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because I know that I have that information in my back pocket.
Yeah, I totally agree. It makes you a better architect. One of the things that I talk about with young architects is to get them out on the job site during construction, just because that way they can see how things are actually built, that it's not just some lines on paper, that they can see how houses are framed. And it also, on the other side of things, it also helps you understand how general contractors think and how the relationships are connected, and will help you become a better leader when you're on the job site by being out there in the construction site. And so there's so many advantages to doing what you're doing. I think it ultimately helps you financially. It helps you personally be a better architect. It makes you happy because you like being out there. And it certainly benefits your architecture firm to have that. I would also say, from a marketing point of view, it adds more confidence to your clients, that your clients, when you design these modern houses that are not as common in Florida as the Mediterranean homes, and they like it, but they're nervous because they're not sure that it's going to work in that climate or that it's going to be built properly. When you stand up and say, well, I'm going to build it for you, and I'm going to make sure that it works, and I've done this before, and I think that adds a lot of confidence to your client, and will give you a lot more trust to design and build what you really want to design and build.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something. As we were setting this company up and talking to some people, previous clients, family members, and whatnot, we do. We didn't mention this yet, but we do all our work in Revit. So we build a model, and I'm pretty particular about how the model is built in our office. Probably not the most time effective all the times, and the things I do to make my models correct. But we're building that model of the house, in the office, so we know some of the pitfalls already of the design of areas that need attention. And I try to be out on all our projects when I know those things are coming up, so we can talk through them. But this being, transitioning to being the lead on the build side, you're already there and you're contracted to be there. So we're hoping to pull what we do in Revit and expand even what we do in Revit to better fit what we're doing with Dig.
Yeah, it's interesting how the two companies will start helping one another. They'll start improving. Both of them together will end up being better than them apart.
I hope so, and I think that's I don't know what route Dig will take after build one. I think it'll evolve because it was a little rushed, and I'm happy with that. As the only owner, evolution's easy.
Yeah,
and I don't know how we'll approach the next project. Well, it's going to be a learning experience, and which in our realm, every project we do should be a learning experience. We should never get comfortable, and we should always push ourselves to do more for our clients. So I think as we work through this first one, I know there's going to be some rough patches because it's the first time not only is it a custom house, it's the first time this house has ever been built. It's the first time we've kind of gone through this concept, and there'll be things to iron out, some things to change on build number 2, but I'm excited about it, and I think we're going to do some good things.
Yeah. Were there any mistakes that you made along the way, in other than kind of pushing it and rushing it? Were there any lessons learned that you would do differently, or that if somebody else was interested in doing what you're doing, that you would warn them to do it differently?
I don't think. I mean, not so far from my stance. Setting up a company was still relatively fresh in my mind, having done it 6 years ago. But there's a lot of things that go into setting up a company, from getting it registered, getting your getting registered with the IRS, getting registered with the state, getting state approval for your name. If you're going to have your company as in Florida as a licensed company to practice in one area, that takes several weeks. So it's not like something. It took time. It took a month and a half to set the company up just to be able to call it that, probably. And so it's not something you can just like wake up tomorrow and say, I want to do this company out of this name, and this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today. It takes some time to set up. So always give your time, expect that, and give yourself time for that. Other than that, I haven't run into any pitfalls that I regret making a move on yet.
Tell me explain the choice to start a new company and not provide construction management services under Cody Renard.
There's a couple reasons behind it. My partner has a lot of relationships with some builders, and we didn't want to off-put them. Mm-hmm. And at least if anybody he had relationships with gets upset by what I'm doing, and I hope nobody gets upset by what I'm doing. But if they would, he can at least say, well, that's Nick's harebrained idea.
Right.
I'm not part of it. And the other, there's lots of little factors that went into it too. It was, being on the construction management side was always something more I was into anyway. Didn't want to bring that liability, that side of the liability to the company.
Right.
Just wanted to keep the two separate, just to keep I've done a lot of research into that. I know there's firms that operate in that manner. There's firms that operate all in one whole. And I think there's pluses and minuses to doing both. But being in a realm where we still serve, our primary business is to still serve our clients and work with builders to build the projects. I felt it was better to keep Cody Renard as this professional thing and let Dig be what it is, as a separate thing that he does one. I mean, like I said, I'm only in it to manage one project at a time. I'm not, not going to take on another build until this one is pretty substantially complete, if the opportunity would arise. The only way that I think that works is if Dig hires another architect, or Cody Renard hires an architect that also works at Dig.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it all.
Right. I think probably the biggest reason for the separate company is the liability. Outside of your specific situation, but the alternative to that is what we do is we don't have a separate company. We do it under McCarthy LePage Architects, which is 5 Cat Studio, and our professional liability covers us for up to 10% of our overall work. So as long as we keep our construction management services below 10% of our total amount of work that we're doing, we're covered under our insurance policy. So if anybody's considering doing construction management under their current policy, you want to check your current policy with your carrier to make sure that you are covered to do construction management. That's also why we only work as advisors, because our policy will cover us as advisors. It will not cover us as constructors. If we are directly responsible for means and methods, it's a different policy.
Yeah, and that's another piece of advice I'd give to people is if this is an approach that you're looking at, get ready to see a big policy increase. I think for Cody Renard, for the amount of work we do in our annual billing, our premium was less than what Dig is for one house. For the lot, even at just acting as the construction management, not even being the builder of records. So it is a large jump in your premium, and be conscious of that.
Right, and you have to make sure that the fee that you're being paid is covering those expenses. So it's so it's a big jump, but you if you're running the business properly, then all of those expenses plus profit should be covered in how much you're getting paid to do that work.
Yeah, and right now there's very little overhead with Dig. Everything is managed and run off my laptop, and so we use a cloud-based construction management program.
Yeah.
Trend.
What are you using?
Trend.
Trend. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going through all the tutorials and whatnot to understand that program. It's a very complex program, but I felt it was the best way to keep everybody on the team in loop. Can't say that our subcontractors will use it, but at least the core members of the team will use it and be able to keep up to date with what everybody else is doing.
Right. It's a very interesting model that you're proposing, and I like the idea that you're doing it one project at a time, so you can kind of test it on the first project and make sure and refine the systems and make sure that it really works really well, and then just do it, improve it on every project thereafter until you want to grow it beyond that.
Yeah. Right now it's very much just an idea and a test, and I'm glad I have someone that has the confidence in me to move forward with them on it. So
yeah, well, you'll have to keep us posted on progress. How can people follow you? You have
sure.
Go ahead.
I have a lot of things planned for the progress of this build. You can follow. The best way to find all our social media accounts and our website is www.dig-architecture.com. You can also find us at codyrenard.com, and through those two websites, you can get to our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter accounts. We'll be using Instagram and Facebook a lot for the construction side of our first house with Dig, so you'll be able to follow along there. We'll probably have some blog posts on it, and then keep the website up to date with plenty of construction photos. We're going to look at doing some time-lapse videos of the construction and really kind of experiment with different things we do to show off that work too.
Okay, so that's excellent. So I'll put links to both Cody Renard and Dig Architecture on the show notes, as well as links to your Twitter handle and your Instagram, so everybody can follow along and see how you're doing. They could also connect with you, I assume, through the websites, through email, through the websites. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if anybody,
if anybody has any questions, I'm my email's. I think my email's on the Dig website, but if not, it's on Cody Renard. You can find me on Twitter or Facebook. I'm there enough.
Yeah. So we'll follow along. If anybody has any questions, you can email Nick directly. And thanks very, very, very much, Nick, for sharing what you're doing, so others can learn from what you're doing.
No problem.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today, Mark.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So if you're interested in learning more about what Nicholas is up to, visit him at codyrenard.com. That's COTERENARD.com. That's his architecture firm. Or dig-architecture.com. dig-architecture.com. That's his construction management firm. And if you like this episode or any of the other episodes of the Entrepreneur Architect podcast, please go to iTunes and leave me a review or a rating or both, because this is how you may help me spread the word about Entrepreneur Architect and our mission to become an influential force in this profession. And let me tell you, it is happening. I have big news coming up. I can't talk about it yet, but stay with me. Big news happening. We're becoming an influential force in this profession. So please go rate and review the podcast on iTunes and spread the word. entrearchitect.com/iTunes. Or in iTunes, just search for Entrepreneur Architect and you'll find me there. And just a reminder about Entrepreneur Architect Academy. I would love for you to learn more about that. Go to entrearchitect.com/academy and find out what's going on there. And today, you can find the show notes and a direct link download to this episode at entrearchitect.com/episode 63. And before I go, quote of the week. My idol, Thomas Alva Edison. I find my greatest pleasure, and so my reward, in the work that precedes what the world calls success. I'm going to say it again. I find my greatest pleasure, and so my reward, in the work that precedes what the world calls success. What is it that you are working on today that tomorrow the world will call success? My name is Mark R. LePage, and I am an Entrepreneur Architect. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds. Get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark R. LePage, founder of Entre Architect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.